Tam Kuru Me Deva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada. A very good morning to all the intellectuals and thinking heads gathered under the roof of Maharshi Sushrut Auditorium. We now welcome you aboard on 2-day long odyssey of science and technology. I, Hiral, along with my co-anchor Shivangi, will be shouldering the responsibility of sailing you safe through the journey.
A great thinker once said, "The aim of education is the knowledge, not of the facts, but of values." It is an occasion like this we get an opportunity to test our knowledge and understanding. We look forward to get an exposure about what the best brains think about the dynamic issue related to science and technology.
We feel privileged to welcome you all on behalf of Department of Biotechnology and Microbiology, Gujarat University, to the National Conference 2023 on Microbiomes to Macromolecules, Connecting the Dots.
This conference honors generous exchange of knowledge and ideas that welcomes the opportunity to learn from others. It creates a platform for exploration and interconnectedness among the various fields of science. We have also taken care that the participants of the event to get a platform to share their research work through the oral and poster presentations.
यूनिवर्सिटी अपनी गुजरात यूनिवर्सिटी अपनी विद्या तणु तपोवन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन
राष्ट्र चेतना कला साधना खेल भावना विकसे
विश्व मानवी बनी गुजराती विश्व सकल माविल से स्नेह संप सहकारनी साथे देती तू सन्मति सौना साथ ने संगाते सौ सिद्ध करे उन्नति प्रेम बंधुता समानताना पल पल प्रसरे स्पंदन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन।
Thank you all. Please be seated.
Let's now begin with the formal inauguration of the program. May I request Director, Head and Convener of this conference, Professor Meenu Saraf Ma'am, to accompany all the dignitaries on the dais. I request all the dignitaries to occupy their respective chairs.
We are indeed very thankful to all the dignitaries for blessing this occasion.
We feel honored to have gracious presence of great personality on the dais. May I take this liberty to request our host to welcome the guest of today's occasion.
May I now request Dr. Kiran Singh Rajput sir to welcome our chief guest of today's function, respected Snehal Bakhtaria sir, who is the Joint Director of GSBTM. Unfortunately, the mission director ma'am, Dr. Gargi ma'am could not make up to be with us. So Bakhtaria sir is joining on this occasion, and thank you sir for your valuable time and joining us on this occasion.
I request Dr. Divyani Tipre ma'am to welcome our guest of honor, Dr. Rajesh Arora sir. He is the Director of DRDO, New Delhi.
Please have a huge round of applause for every dignitaries on the dais. Now I request Dr. Dwaipayan Goswami sir to welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor and Patron of the conference, Professor Himanshu Pandya sir. Thank you, sir. Now I request Kiran Singh Rajput sir to welcome our Registrar, Dr. P.M. Patel sir. Please, may I have a huge round of applause for all the guests on the dais? Thank you, sir.
May I request Dr. Divyani Tipre ma'am to welcome Professor Meenu Saraf ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Dr. Vikram Raval sir to welcome Dr. Rakesh Kumar Panchal sir. Thank you, sir. I request Dwaipayan sir to welcome Professor S.R. Dave sir, who is the former head of the department. He has joined us on this occasion. I request Dwaipayan sir to welcome Dave sir. I request Vikram Raval sir to welcome Dr. B.V. Patel sir. B.V. Patel sir has served the department for many years. He has also joined us on this occasion. We thank him too. We also heartily welcome all the directors, heads, professors, faculty members, students of various departments, and esteemed audiences who have gathered here from diverse places. Thank you all.
May I now request all the dignitaries to join us for our traditional auspicious lamp lighting ceremony to gather the blessings from Ma Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रामृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेत पद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युत शङ्कर प्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती
Thank you all. Established in the year 1976, our department has served its best from past 46 years and promises a lot to the generation ahead. Let me take this opportunity to invite the woman who has been the driving force behind all the innovative measures which have been implemented since last few years for upgrading the department to its finest position. I request our Professor Meenu Saraf ma'am to have for her welcome address and request her to enlighten us about the theme of the conference. Please, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Distinguished eminent personalities on the dais. Professor Himanshu Pandya, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Rajesh Arora, Dr. Snehal Bhattaria, our Registrar, sir, Dr. P.M. Patel, all my dear delegates and students and colleagues, everybody, a very, very warm welcome to all of you. It gives me great pleasure to extend to all of you a very warm welcome on behalf of the Department of Microbiology and Biotechnology and to convey how grateful we are to have you here. A smile is a universal welcome. So all of you, my dear co-organizers and volunteers of the event, please welcome your neighbors with a smile and a round of applause. Thank you so much. So our chief guest today, who was supposed to be Madam Gargi Jain, who was the mission director of GSBTN, is a very eminent personality known to all of us. But unfortunately, due to some urgent commitment today morning, she was not able to come, and she has kindly deputed Dr. Snehal Bhattaria, who is also an equally busy person, to be with us today. Thank you so much, Snehal sir, for coming here and accepting this invite for such a short notice. Our Honorable Vice Chancellor sir has been our source of strength and guidance. We all have witnessed an accelerated growth at the Gujarat University at an unprecedented pace. Gujarat University today is a tower of power and development that has not been witnessed by any other state university. Nevertheless, to say the rise in its rankings and quest for excellence is phenomenal. Thank you so much, sir, for being here and gracing the occasion. I also thank our Honorable Registrar, sir, who has always been so very supportive of all our endeavors, and he is always ready to come and bless us on the occasions. Our keynote speaker today is Dr. Rajesh Arora. He is from DRDO, New Delhi. Sir is a PhD, a DSc, an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad, and he has so many more achievements. He is heading and a member of many national and international organizations and bodies. We are gratified to have you with us today, sir. A very warm welcome to you. I also extend my very warm welcome to all my invited speakers of the day. Professor Syed sir, who has come from Nandurbar, Maharashtra. Professor Sinha, who has come from BHU, Varanasi. Professor Ujjwal Trivedi from Sardar Patel University. Dr. Shailendra Gaur, who will be arriving soon from Hyderabad. Dr. Mir Mohammed from the University of Kashmir. Dr. Anand Bhadalkar sir, who is heading the bioincubator cell at Savli of GSBTN, who will be here for both the days, the 22nd and 23rd of February. So our event is adorned with stars, and we are delighted to offer our most hospitable welcome to you. I also welcome our stalwarts of the department who are with us today. Sir, we need your blessings and supports always to achieve so much better. So with us today are Professor B.V. Patel and Professor S.R. Dave, who have helped us in achieving so many milestones, and I'm sure, sir, you would be proud of the achievements of the department today. Welcome, sir. The Department of Microbiology and Biotechnology stands today in a very unique position in Gujarat, whereas wherein the multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary teaching and research in the field of microbial biotechnology has been established since 1976 and has evolved greatly with time. The department is enriched with faculty who are eminent scientists and academicians who are very renowned experts in their very own different areas in the broad area of microbial biotechnology. The department runs PG programs as well as PGD programs, and till date, more than 60 students have obtained their PhDs, more than 90 students MPhil, and about 2,000 students approximately have obtained their postgraduate degrees, and they are very well placed in many areas with government departments, pathology labs, fermentation industries, environmentally related firms, vaccine development, antibiotics production, and R&D sectors, etc. And we are very proud to say that they hold top positions in many different international places too. I'm very, very happy to share with you that we have received the support from DST, and we are now a DST-FIST supported department. Thank you. Our academic faculty in the last 6 months itself has bagged projects worth over more than 1.5 crores. This is in the last 6 months, so it is phenomenal. In the areas related to organic farming, soil microbiology, antibiotic resistance, and e-waste removals. And today and tomorrow. Now, what is this conference on? The conference today and tomorrow, which is titled, as you all have seen, the microbiomes to macromolecules, connecting the dots. This offers us the whole area of dimensions from the microbial world to the macromolecules produced. The diversity of these macromolecules produced from the microbial world is so immense and full of beauty. This is what we will be recognizing in these 2 days. Our presentations today and tomorrow shall explore this potential and possibilities of these micro and nanomolecules using omics technologies and holding hands with the industry for their scale-up. And what a gathering we have. We have got eminent dignitaries, learned faculty, research scholars of eminence, acclaimed guests from the industry and bioincubators, and all have come here for one cause, our conference. So today we have more than 300 registered participants, which we had to close down on the 12th of February because of lack of place. We have the breakup is like there are 36 faculty members, 90 research scholars, 164 PG students. We have divided our sessions into 3 different subheadings so that all may remain connected and all get a chance to have some kind of presentation and interaction, whatever possible. So let us begin with a positive note of Carl Jung. The meeting of 2 personalities is like contact with 2 chemical substances. Both are transformed. So my students, this is for you. Both have to be transformed. I also wish to thank from the bottom of my heart all my faculty and non-teaching staff who have tirelessly day and night worked for organizing of this conference and to bring it up to this level of excellence. I thank my sponsors. I thank the UGC and GSBTM for their support and appreciate wholeheartedly the help from my research scholars who with their dedication have shown their commitment to the cause of the subject and the department with us. Thank you all, really so much. Thank you. So let us start this transformation with a friendly welcome and an outstretched hand. Welcome and thank you all so much for coming.
Thank you, ma'am. And it's a promise from us that you'll see the transformation in each and everyone who is sitting here. Thank you for your insightful address.
This two-day event has been compiled in a form of souvenir. I request all the dignitaries on the dais to do honor of unveiling the compilation.
I do expect a big round of applause. This is the work which is presented in the form of souvenir. Thank you all. The Group of 20 G20 is the premier forum for international economic cooperation. This year, India holds the presidency of G20. To enlighten us more about this, I request Dr. Vikram Raval sir to address the August House.
Good morning, Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I extend a warm and hearty welcome to the dignitaries on and off dais. I'm here to brief you about the G20, its functionaries and the activities that are to be undertaken this year. G20 members, it is actually a group of 20 countries comprising of 19 countries in the European Union. Why this group is so important for us is that G20 members represent around the 85% of the global population, global GDP, and 75% of the global trade. The group of G20, it is a premier forum for international economic cooperation. It plays an important role in shaping, strengthening global architecture, governance on all major international and economic issues. Now, why this year is important for us is that G20 presidency is with India. The G20 presidency steers the G20 agenda for 1 year and hosts all the summits. The G20 consists of two parallel tracks, that is the finance and the Sherpa tracks. These are basically meant for international economic decisions that are to be taken all around the world. Now, why we are more interested is that because we have the various engagement groups. So currently, G20 hosts various engagement groups, and these goes like the business, labor, youth, parliaments, research, women entrepreneurs. So this year, India has initiated the new, every year, the country which hosts the presidency adds up to one of the management or engagement groups to this event. India has added the Startup 20 to this year's presidency. So all around the globe and all around the G20 nations, you will be finding activities that are corely based on startup events. So India is one of the most important in this startup ecosystem because many of the unicorns that are now coming from India. This conference is a part of G20 and Y20. Y20 is the Youth 20 activity. So in our university, to disseminate scientific knowledge, spread know-how of the sustainable technologies and sustainable development goals that are to be undertaken by the G20 countries. With this, I conclude. Thank you all for being patient. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, sir. Dear audience, we are all aware that GSBTM promotes and supports the development of biotechnology in the state by promoting research and development in the field of biotechnology. Let me take this opportunity to invite the Joint Director of GSBTM. He is known for his wonderful administration and high achievements. We are grateful to him for accepting our invitation and becoming a chief guest of today's event. I invite respected Snehal Bhattaria sir for his opening and welcoming remarks.
Suprabhatam Mitro, I hope I am audible. Yeah. So, Professor Arora, Professor Himanshu, Dr. Patel, Registrar, Gujarat University, Rakesh Panchal Saab, and Minu ma'am, senior faculties sitting in the auditorium, Professor Dave, Professor Patel, Rakesh Bhai, Devyani Pan, and other faculties, and dear friends. So as it is told, I have been tasked here by mission director to be a part of this program, and it is always good to come back and meet all friends and, students at the university. As it is indicated, the university has a rich history and, stalwart alumni which are doing wonderful across the globe, including, our honorable, senior leadership of the country. So, and the motto of the university, as you all know, yoga karmashu kaushalam. Yeah? So perfection in work, isn't it? So perfection in work in ancient times, since the Vedic times, it is defined as one of the way to reach to the God. And I'm sure if we, focus on this motto, at least we will be address our own personal problems and the problems of the world. And, to add to that, another verse is, yadyada charati shreshtas, tat tadeve tarojana. So whosoever does the best, others, follow them, So if you combine these two verses from the Bhagavad Gita, I hope, you will be address the problems which you will be facing in day-to-day times, and you will excel and contribute to the society. So one of the example of, I'm sure which would be followed, and I'm sure which will be documented as a case study in the history of, academics of Gujarat, the wonderful work which is done by Professor Himanshu Pandya in transforming the university, with wonderful work, and I hope that it will be documented as a case study so that others can follow his wonderful work in times to come. So as you all know, I represent Biotechnology mission, and many of you know it's a promotional agency which focuses on three aspects. It is research support, supporting research to academic institutions in the state, supporting biotech businesses, providing incentives to biotech companies, and skilling activities, or supporting skilling programs, conference, seminar support in the state. And under the research support scheme, I am happy to know that, I'm happy to share that Gujarat University has been one of the key player in, addressing the problems of the state. The latest addition would be, a network program on natural farming, in which, Gujarat University took a lead, in the country, advising and even, helping Niti Aayog in various programs of natural farming. So, and just to clarify, natural farming, organic farming, there's a huge difference. So I hope all of you should read our concept paper on natural farming and other papers by Niti Aayog, so that we could, differentiate organic farming and natural farming. Natural farming is, you develop your own fertilizers on your own farm with the cow-based inputs, and then you do, transformation in your agriculture. And with the recent budgetary announcements of the Gujarat University doing wonderful work in botany, I'm sure, urban agriculture could be important addition to this, combining the natural farming and urban agriculture. In the times of startups, when, all of you are focusing in these areas, wonderful work done here in microbiology also on biofertilizers and allied area. If we combine all these aspects, I think we can add newer aspects in not only to the natural farming, but to the urban agriculture segment also. As we all know, many of you might be aware, vertical farming activity has got a significant boost in Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong, China, and other spaces. And I'm sure with wonderful facilities in times to come, Gujarat University is developing with botany department, this new aspect also could be added in times to come. Now let us focus on, today's theme of the seminar, isn't it? So microbiome, and, how wonderful products we can develop out of microbiome. So, many of the microbiologists, everybody knows, it's a well-known sentence, that, oh, human beings are comprising of 10 raised to 13 cells, and, the microbes inside the human beings are 10 raised to 14. But being, a FIDA-oriented society, we look for FIDA from each and every aspect of it, FIDO su abadano, hai na? So let me complete the sentence with, human beings are comprising of 10 raised to 13 cells, and it has microbes which are in total number of 10 raised to 14. And if I add to that the global microbiome business, is $6 billion. And it will be in 2026, it will be $10 billion. So if we combine both the things, I think we can do wonderful things. And microbiomes, or gut microbiomes have not been a new thing for us. In ancient, Vedic literature, we are sitting here in Sushrut Bhavan. So let me, take some references. Panchkarma was a system in Ayurveda which was basically, re-engineering your gut microbiome, right? And if you see top ranking microbiome companies globally these days, they try to do things which, changes your gut microbiome. So you have, a gut brain, axis and microbiome correlations to address the neuronal diseases. There are companies working into it. We are sitting in zoology department and it has a rich history of, infertility research. There are companies who are working on vaginal and gut microbiome, and they try to address the issues related to infertility, by deploying the, microbiome studies. There are companies when they are combining the synthetic biology approach with microbiome and cancer research. Probably, that is one of the easy way to engineer the organisms, sending back them to gut and address the various, gut-related cancers and allied area. There are companies who are developing, peptides. Let's say Enterom is a French company, which is developing a database of near about 20,000 peptides from gut microbiome. And these peptides will be used for, developing new solutions. We have, one of the important area of research, which is rheumatoid arthritis or inflammation in general, where the microbiomes are used, along with, addressing neuronal diseases and, inflammation research, how we can address these issues. In various respiratory diseases, you have large number of, lung microbiome studies, which are ongoing studies. And I'm sure, in times to come, Gujarat University will also work in these areas, To add to that, Gujarat University also has a very good strength in bioinformatics. And there are microbiome companies who are developing digital profiles of individuals for precision medicines. On one side, you have genomes. On the other side, you have microbiomes. They develop such digital profiles, deploy the tools of AI and ML, and then they try to give, personalized medicine or precision medicine solutions in, diseases which are not treatable or which are improving the overall health of the person. And I'm sure this initiative and initiatives in times to come will create few microbiome companies in the incubators of the university, and which will, provide leadership to the country. Though there are few companies like Lucin Rich Bio and others, most of them, these microbiome companies in Bangalore, are started by, IT entrepreneurs diversifying into biotech and genomics. In times to come, Gujarat University having good strengths in genomics, microbiology, and bioinformatics, I'm sure many of you students will be able to start the companies in Gujarat, and Biotech Mission has a sound policy, one of the best in the country. We have, CapEx, OpEx, and inter-subsidy incentive support, which is for you. And I'm sure you will be starting few of the microbiome companies in times to come. With this, again, I'm thankful to Gargi ma'am, Menu Sharaf ma'am, and Himanshu Pandya sahab for inviting me. And I'm happy to be with the friends and the students. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful address. We are blessed to have Dr. Rajesh Arora, sir, with us, who is currently holding the position of Director, Ministry of Defense, DRDO, New Delhi. His significant achievement in the field of microbial biotechnology are well recognized. He has made several outstanding contributions in the field of biomedical research. We are honored to have you as a guest of honor on this occasion. May I request Dr. Rajesh Arora sir to bless us with his words of wisdom.
Honorable Professor Pandya sir, Professor Meenu Sarraf ma'am, and sir from Gujarat Biotech Council, and Registrar Sahab, very senior and eminent scientists and professors from different parts of the country, and my dear students and colleagues. A very good morning to all of you, and greetings to all of you from DRDO. I'm indeed very delighted to be here today for the first time at Gujarat University, and thanks to the Midas touch of Professor Meenu Sarraf that she invited me. And it's indeed an honor and a pleasure for me to be here. And I was just discussing with Professor Pandya that DRDO has been supporting and almost all the academic institutions and industries. And our Honorable Finance Minister last year, in the budget, she had proposed that 25% of our DRDO budget will be going to for supporting the industries as well as the academia. And I'm very delighted, very happy to note that Professor Pandya has taken the initiative to set up a center, and already you are having Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Center for Innovation in the university. And under Sir's leadership, I'm very sure that there'll be many more collaborations to come. As far as the country's policy is concerned, the biotechnology is an area which is growing very fast, and it has immense potential. Our Honorable Prime Minister has set a goal of an economy of almost 5 trillion in the coming years, and the bioeconomy is going to contribute in a very big way, which we have seen in the last 3 to 5 years. And so there's a lot of scope, and the organization of this national conference on microbiomes to macromolecules, connecting the dots, is very contemporary, because as Sir also mentioned, that there are so many startups that are coming, and I will also be discussing in my lecture that how the microbiomes are really transforming our lives. It's nothing new. In fact, my last slide, Sir, says that are we humans or are we microbes? So if you happen to listen, I'll try to put across the point that because we are more microbes than humans. In fact, 10 times more microbes exist in us as compared to our own genes and other molecules. So microbiomes, in fact, have been there since eternity, since the origin of life. So I'll try to put across those things also. So with this, I will not take much time, and I would like to convey my greetings and best wishes to the university and the conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now, I invite a person whose presence has been inspiration for us. I request our Registrar, Dr. P.M. Patel, sir, to bless us on this occasion.
Namaskar. UGC and GSBTM sponsored today's seminar, Dignities on the Dais. જેમના વિઝન અને હાર્ડ વર્કથી સ્ટેટ યુનિવર્સિટીમાં આટલા સરસ મજાના હોલમાં આપણે બેઠા છીએ એવા આપણા વિઝનરી ઓનરેબલ વાઇસ ચાન્સેલર સર, પ્રોફેસર ડોક્ટર હિમાંશુભાઈ પંડ્યા સાહેબ, માઇક્રોબાયોલોજીમાં ફ્રીક્વન્ટલી મેડમ સેમિનાર્સ કરતા જ જતા હોય છે, અને જેને ફાર્મસી સાથે ઘણું કનેક્શન હોય છે એવા સારા ટોપિક્સ લઈને હંમેશા સેમિનાર કરે છે એવા આપણા માઇક્રોબાયોલોજી ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટના હેડ રિસ્પેક્ટેડ મીનુ મેડમ. આજના પ્રોગ્રામમાં હમણાં જ જેમને આપણે સાંભળ્યા અને મનમાં ઘણા બધા રિસર્ચના આઈડિયા આવવા માંડ્યા કે 25% of the budget of the DRDO should be at education and that. એવા respected Arora sir, DRDO head, GSBTM ના જોઈન્ટ ડાયરેક્ટર સર શ્રી સ્નેહલભાઈ બખ્તરિયા સાહેબ, આપણા સૌના પ્રોફેસર્સ અને હંમેશા સેમિનારમાં સાથે હોય પંચાલ સાહેબ, dignitaries of the dais, we all know our BV Patel sir, respected sir, and Professor Dave sir, whole team where we have seen Rajput sir and every GU team, madam and Rakesh bhai Rawal sir, dignitaries of the dais, all professors and young team, Rawal sirs and everyone. This is all about GU and the department. There, everything is developing. Everything is already developed. Now come to the topic. Topic पर जुए तो मैं topic वांचो तो as a pharmacy I say anti-TB. We are focusing on the something connection with the dots with the microbiomes. We all know that before this COVID time, ICMR have identified certain diseases. Among them, one disease which is the biggest challenge for our country is also a TB. Meanwhile, in last this 2-3 years, we forgot to focus on this TB. For your knowledge, the biggest challenge to treat the TB is resistance. Every time doctor and the researcher face the concept of resistance over the drug, and to counteract that resistance, Indian government have developed this DOTS. It means it is nothing but it is a combination of the drugs, isoniazid, rifampicin, ethambutol, those all combination. And we all know that certain companies, as sir told, there are lot many opportunities in the entrepreneurship. We know certain well-known companies, they establish from a single disease like lupine and all those mega companies. They focus on that. So I think any research in this topic may be a breakthrough if it is helpful for the society to control the TB and to treat the TB. Once again, I congratulate the team to select the topic which is more touched to the Indian community, which is related with the tuberculosis. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thanks.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful address. Now, we invite a man on a mission with commitment in his eyes and determination in his heart, whose sole goal is
કેમ છો બધા? ઉનાળો શરૂ થઈ ગયો એટલે આ લોકો એસી ચાલુ બંધ કેમ કરે છે ખબર નથી પડતી. Those who are from the other states, you might be not understanding what I am trying to convey, but I just conveyed something which is related to air condition. Good morning, one and all present here. It's been a wonderful opportunity to talk to the youngsters, those who are having wonderful ideas in their minds and having that zeal to work for the country. Passion is always there. You know, we all are bubbling with energy and we have a lot of ideas. Then how to materialize it? That is the question. Since last 5 years, we are coordinating Gujarat University Startup and Entrepreneurship Council. That is, we call it a GUSAC. More than 500 dreams are materialized here in this campus. 500 dreams. And they are now about to be unicorn. One of our girls, Shikha Shah, is a 90 crore entity. Very soon she'll be entering 100 crore club. Just 3-4 years back, she was on her Activa visiting to our campus and talking to the faculties. One simple idea. What was that? How we can use this agriculture waste to produce yarn. And once you have yarn, you can process it through a lot of ideas and you can make cloth, you can make a lot of utensils, many things out of it. Then the technology links, and that is how you link the dots. Then what is so lacking in our campus? Only one thing. What I have observed in my 7 years tenure in this campus is, actually it's 27 years, but as a Vice Chancellor, 7 years, that we hardly talk to each other. Friends, our academic ego is so big. We are not talking to each other. If I am having some material, आपके पास जो notes होते हैं ना, आप जो पढ़ाई करने में एग्जाम में लिखते हो, आप उसको बच्चे की तरह संभाल के रखते हो, उसको इतना छुपा छुपा के रखते हो, किसी को नहीं बताते हो. इवन योर क्लोज फ्रेंड्स, आप बोलते हो कि नो 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 वो मेरे पास थी पर ना वो पता नहीं मैंने कहाँ रख ली. ये फ्रेंड्स, हैव यू सीन अ सिंगल पेपर जहां पे फॉरेन के किसी भी ऑथर को आप देख लीजिए, एक पेपर में 10-12 ऑथर्स होते हैं. What do you think? Are they scared of the encounters which are supposed to be happen out of that context? I don't think so. It is to supplement and complement the work what they are coordinating in the laboratories. We being Indian, we are treated and groomed like that the working in silo and isolation would help you out. And one day you will be out of some innovation which will be remarkable. It happened accidentally, I tell you. You cannot plan innovation. Nobody in this world can plan innovation. It is always accidental or incidental. How I can tell you? थॉमस अल्वा एडिसन सब जानते हैं, क्या किया? इलेक्ट्रिसिटी. पता है उसने क्या बोला था? By tumbling, we reached to the gold. That means he was not looking for electricity. He was just trying to identify between two happenings. कि प्रोटॉन को इलेक्ट्रॉन के साथ जोड़ेंगे न्यूट्रॉन के साथ तो क्या होगा? तो इलेक्ट्रॉन निकलेगा. वो इफेक्ट चेक कर रहे थे, and out of that incident, he found electricity. What does it mean? That you work for something else, your objectives and aims are something different, but then you tumble on the gold. If you have this much honesty in your experiments, then and then you can work for the sciences. Forget about serving your nation and producing good papers and having patents on your work. But at least let us have a research temperament, what we are missing in our campuses or in our industry. Everybody wants to have shortcuts. First, you need to understand what is exactly a basic science is looking for. Once your concepts are clear, everything is clear. Bindi Patel, she developed a cellulose which is produced out of a plant material which is 10 times stronger than the plastic, which is biodegradable. She is national award winner. She is there in your campus. Talk to her. Sit with her. She roams here and there in campus only. Shikha is always, every Saturday you will find her in GUSEC. We have 500 success stories like this, and they are students like you only. So my dear friends, I would request you to forget about your academic ego and the laboratory what you belongs, the papers what you have in your names, the projects what you have in your names. But one entity, we call it Corona, can kill us all. So whatever the Nobel laureates you have, whatever the papers you publish, whatever the projects you coordinate, it doesn't matter. That means nature has produced us in a diverse capacity and we are becoming monotonous. That means we have the same sort of immunity so that one virus can kill us all. If we are diverse in expression, then and then we can be survived. And our immunity is greatly compromised because of our behavior, our eating habits, our everyday practices, the medication what we follow. आज किसी भी बंदे के पर्स से आप निकाल लीजिए, कॉम्बिफ्लेम मिलेगी आपको, एक सिट्रिजिन मिलेगी, एक पैरासिटामोल मिलेगी. We are taking medicines like refreshment. And we call ourselves learned. We are educated. वहाँ strictly लिखा है कि under the medical supervision you can take this medicine, but we hardly follow. हमको लगता है कि हम जो सोचते हैं वही सबसे best है, and that ego is killing us. Friends, believe me, it's not about you or me, it's about us. And when we talk of us, we have to have coordination, we have to have networking. When the institution like DRDO is coming to join hands with you, that means they have some bigger intentions. And this is loud and clear that the government is pouring millions and millions of rupees for research and innovation. What does it mean? The platforms are open. We go to many companies, Snehal bhai would agree with me. We go to many selection and scrutiny committee, but we hardly find substance in the proposal. What are your objectives? How you are going to meet those objectives? How many protocols you are going to develop out of that objectives? And what would be the impact of your research on society or industry? That is very important. You might be having 200 papers, but nothing is useful to either industry or society. Friends, we need to rethink the way we are working. And I think the only one person can save you is you own. Nobody else can change you. Nobody else can help you out. Nobody else can groom you. It's your understanding, it's your perception, it's your belief would lead to the success. And once you start your journey, excellence is yet to be there. And for that, you have to work very hard. And that working is nothing but, it's not an overnight journey, You have to plan, you have to execute, and then the things would materialize. And for that, the journey is very, exciting. We developed this university on a number one position. So it's a journey. Everybody has worked very hard. Professor B. Patel, Professor Dave, they have poured their blood to the development of this university. Likewise, all you students, you have worked very hard in your laboratory. You have produced wonderful papers, projects out of it. And that helped university in their ranking and rating. Since last 5 years, we are number one in the state. Nobody is competing with us. We are number one in the state. We are the only university who has ranked consecutively 5 years on the top. Either you take national ranking, NIRF, or the state ranking, GSIRF. We are number one. That means a lot of consultancy is coming to the campus, a lot of facilitation is coming to the campus. We have DRDO on board, Center of Excellence with 100 crore revenue. It's a big funding what we have received from DRDO. Then we have UNICEF, we have United Nations, we have many American companies working on data mining and data labeling. Future would be data only. Everything will be based on the data analysis and the data review. What we are doing, we need to network with microbiology, with chemistry. I know chemistry, Professor Srivastav is here. He is an excellent researcher. He has produced more than 20 papers on supramolecules. Now, let me give you some idea what Professor Arora was talking. Microbes. Are we microbes or microbes are stronger than us? I would say, sir, microbes are stronger than us. Because we cannot see them. They are like gods. हम कहते हैं ना परमात्मा सर्वत्र है, ये भी सर्वत्र है, दिखते नहीं है. तो हमारे जो 33 करोड़ देवी देवता है, शायद यही माइक्रोब्स है. सब उसको आइडेंटिफाई कर लो आप. आपके नाखून के बीच में, आपके आंख के नीचे, आपके आंसू में, हर जगह कहाँ पे माइक्रोब्स नहीं है. आपको लगता है कि यू सैनिटाइज योरसेल्फ, यू नेवर सैनिटाइज योरसेल्फ. वो अंदर या बाहर कहीं ना कहीं रहते हैं. And when you try to cure them, when you try to eradicate them, they will multiply. मतलब आपकी पूरी मेहनत जो है वो पानी में चली जाएगी. आप चाहे कितना भी ट्राई कर लो, आपके अगार में कंटामिनेशन आ ही जाता है. पर आपको लगता है कि ये कहां से आ रहा है यार, समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. I was the only student, I was the first student of this university who worked with tissue culture, plant tissue culture. तो मुझे हम लोग 250 टेस्ट ट्यूब इनोक्यूलेट करने के बाद 3 दिन के बाद जब कल्चर रूम खोल के देखते थे, आधे से ज्यादा ट्यूब में कंटामिनेशन। और उस टाइम तो था कि मतलब हम लोग लकड़ी की पेटी में सब इनोक्यूलेशन चैम्बर ये सब बना के, देयर वाज नो टेक्नोलॉजी इन्वॉल्व्ड, बट देन एट दैट टाइम वी पेटेंटेड अ टेक्नोलॉजी। आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट 95-96। बात यही है, whatever you have learned during this time, you just transmit the same knowledge to your juniors, transmit the same knowledge to your school goers, and that will help. उसको कभी ये मत बोलो कि तू अभी छोटा है। I tell you, 17 साल का लड़का है हर्षवर्धन, जिसने सेंसर इनोवेट किया है। वो सेंसर 1.5 मीटर नीचे से माइंस को ढूंढ के लाता है। 17 साल का लड़का है हर्षवर्धन। आप यहाँ अपीयर भी होगा तो आप बोलोगे पीछे जाके बैठ। डीआरडीओ ने उसकी जो ये टेक्नोलॉजी है उसको एंडोर्स किया है और अब यूज कर रही है आर्मी और एयरफोर्स दोनों। एक छोटा सा मतलब सीपीयू, ये आपका जो रिमोट होता है ना, इससे भी छोटा, इतना सीपीयू, मतलब यू टेक एनीवेयर, लिंक इट विथ योर मोबाइल विल बी योर स्क्रीन एंड सीपीयू इज विथ यू। कैपेसिटी 1 TB, नो इश्यू। So, आपको पीसी घुमाने का, ये लैपटॉप का थैला ये सब करने की जरूरत नहीं है। 500 सक्सेस स्टोरी, मैं बोलने बैठूंगा तो सुबह हो जाएगी, एक से बढ़ के एक है। बट आई एम जस्ट शेयरिंग इट विथ यू बिकॉज आई वांट टू इंस्पायर यू टू डू समथिंग लाइक दिस। हम अपनी लैब में बैठे होते हैं, वी नीड टू थिंक समथिंग डिफरेंट। वो डिफरेंट क्या है? आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स थिंकिंग नहीं करना है, बट जो काम करते हो ना उसमें कुछ नॉवेल अप्रोच लेके आओ। If you have that capacity and guts to change the protocol, आपकी थीसिस में ये लिखा होना चाहिए कि slightly modified by so and so. You are following some protocol, but dare to change that protocol, and then you are a scientist. Then and then you are a research scholar. आपकी थीसिस में वो मोनोटोनस चीजें नहीं मिलनी चाहिए। मैं बहुत बार बोलता हूं, आज भी बोल रहा हूं, आपकी 100 पेज की थीसिस में 25 पेजेस जो है वो इंट्रोडक्शन रिव्यू के हैं, जिसमें आपका कुछ नहीं है। 25 पेजेस है मटेरियल मेथड के, उसमें मेथोडोलॉजी किसी और की है, मटेरियल भी किसी और का है, उसमें हमारा कुछ नहीं है। 25 पेजेस आर फॉर रिजल्ट्स एंड डिस्कशन, उसमें से 12 पेज डिस्कशन के निकाल दो। कितने बचे? 12 पेज। और बाकी के 25 पेज में बोलना नहीं चाहता हूं, क्योंकि उसमें आप जो लिखते हो वो रेफरेंस आपने कभी अपनी जिंदगी में यूज नहीं किए हैं, आपके रिसर्च में कहीं दिख नहीं रहा है, ना ऑब्जेक्टिव्स में ना प्रेजेंटेशन में। वो 25 पेजेस होते हैं जो कि हम बहुत बड़ी, वो आई डोंट वांट टू यूज दैट वर्ड, पर बताओ मुझे, वो 12 पेज के लिए आप पूरी जिंदगी कॉलर उठा के घूमते हो कि मैं पीएचडी हूं, और वो 12 पेज से निकला क्या? ना एक प्रोडक्ट निकली है जो सोसाइटी में काम में आ सकती है, ना इंडस्ट्री को कहीं काम में आ सकती है। ये मेरा कहना है। वर्क फॉर दैट 12 पेजेस दैट वुड क्रिएट एन एनवायरनमेंट टू लीड द वर्ल्ड। ये इतना डिफिकल्ट नहीं है, हमने उसे डिफिकल्ट बना दिया है, बिकॉज वी वॉन्ट टू कीप एवरीथिंग विथ अवर लैबोरेटरी, विथ अवर माइंड्स ओनली। शेयर इट, और शेयर करने से बहुत बड़ी उपलब्धि आपको हाथ में आएगी, आपको अंदाजा भी नहीं रहेगा। आपके पास 100 रुपये है, उसको शेयर करोगे 1 लाख बन जाएगा। शेयर करना सीखो। एक जगह पे सारे अंडे रखोगे, एक टोकरी फूट गई, सब फूट गया। हर एक टोकरी में एक अंडा रखो, उससे बच्चे निकलेंगे, उससे और अंडे निकलेंगे, इससे और बच्चे बनेंगे। समझ रहे हो आप? सो शेयर इट विथ योर फिजिक्स, share it with your biology, share it with your zoology, share it with your chemistry, and develop a working group. ये जो working group है, that will help you out thinking out of the box. आपने एक नोवेल एंटिटी का खोज कर लिया है, उसको वो कैपेसिटी में ले जाने के लिए एक छोटा सा एक इंटरवेंशन जरूरी है, जो केमिस्ट्री जानता है, जो कि फार्मासिस्ट ही जानता है। आप नहीं कर सकते उसको। You will take 10 years to be there to exploit that molecule. But then if you really want to do that within the time, before the time, network with others, coordinate with others. और बिल्कुल ईगो नहीं रखो. ईगो मतलब आप समझो कि एकेडमिक ईगो इज किलिंग अस, और ये नेचर जो है हमारा वो पूरे कंट्री को भी किल कर रहा है. My humble request to you all is, when you talk of microbes and microbiomes, it is something beyond entities what we are thinking even. You know, these are such a creature, they are like, you know, if you allow them to be so, they will be one entity. Then if you groom them to be so, they will be another entity. And if you can use this particular technology with the artificial intelligence and machine learning tools, that is the height of the world, I would say. And what is the life of a researcher? You are international citizen. You are not going to pay for your travel and your stay. Your government will pay for you. You have no responsibility to go to the classrooms and teaching students and developing notes and everything. And the funds what you get is enormous. And the agencies like SACISRO, PRL, DRDO, ICMR, they all are opening their doors for the academics. Friends, a woman scientist is getting 65,000 per month. And there is no responsibility. That is bigger fund than what you get as an assistant professor. And this room is full of girl students, I can see that. Because biological sciences are always flooded with girls. Opportunities are enormous. You need to exploit and explore the capabilities. You have the capacities in you. We are ready to help you out. Government is funding you. Policies are there to help you out. Then only one thing is needed. It's your hard work and your persuasion, which will lead to the excellence and which will help this country grow and lead the world. I think अगर हमको वसुधैव कुटुंबकम और आत्मनिर्भर होके विश्वगुरु बनना है, तो इसके लिए networking and channeling is very important, and you are one of the unit to make that link full and complete. And for that, I invite you, and I congratulate Department of Microbiology and especially Meenu Madam to coordinate such wonderful event where you are going to talk of future. It is beyond the entity, it's beyond the capacity. It's like something, you know, they can dance on your tune. Right now, you people are listening me. If I start music here, you'll start responding like this. Somebody will move their legs, somebody will move their heads. So microbiomes and microbiological entities are like this only. If you place them in some environment, they will be so. If you place them on the bone, they will be bone. Neurological system, they will acquire the neurological tendency. They are so simple. They are so easy to tackle. But then you need to understand that how they are working and what is their actual nature. If you understand the basic nature of the microbiomes, you can make them whatever you want to make them. And that is the beauty. So this supramolecule, aromatics, bioenergetics, these are some of the fields where you can earn multi-million dollars. आप जिस पौधे की पैर रखते हो ना, आपको नहीं पता है. You have not explored yet that capacity, but they have that bioenergetics within them. They have that secondary metabolites with them. It is yet to be explored. So each and every element is important. What you need to do is working in networking, working in group, and share your knowledge and ideas with others. That will help you out to grow further. Thank you very much. Wish you all the good luck, all the very best.
Thank you, sir, for your rich words. Let's sum up this inauguration event with gratitude expression. I request Dr. Rakesh Panchal, sir, organizing secretary of this event, to present vote of thanks.
Dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. एहसान मेरे दिल पे तुम्हारा है दोस्तों, ये दिल तुम्हारे प्यार का मारा है दोस्तों. All the ehsan which has been made by the dignitaries of the dais, I am here to extend the vote of thanks. It is my pride privilege to express the vote of thanks to dignitaries and all who made this inaugural function of our national conference a memorable one. and successful one. On behalf of organizers and on my personal behalf, first of all, let me thank the patron of our national conference, Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, Professor Himanshu Pandya Sir, who in spite of his busy schedule and important engagements, spared time and remained present in this inaugural function and showered his blessing, who had shown all probable dots to us. Now it is our turn to connect the dots. Sir, we are assure you that all the participants may work in the direction which has been shown by you and definitely will come out with something big. Thank you very much, sir. We also thank young and dynamic registrar, sir, Dr. P.M. Patel, sir, again, in spite of his busy schedule and his engagements in the university administration, he remained present here and he had showered his valuable talk with us and blessings. Thank you very much, sir. We also thank guest of honor of today's inaugural function, Dr. Rajesh Arora, sir, who in spite of his busy schedule of DRDO's responsibilities, spared time, traveled a long way from Delhi for this conference only, and he has blessed us with the great ideas of the DRDOs, and he is the keynote speaker. He is going to address the keynote speech to us. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. We also thank the inaugural guest of today's function, Dr. Snehal Bhattaria, sir, who had shown us all probable windows where the government supports the research and development. So Snehal, sir, again, he is having a busy schedule, but still he is there with us. Thank you very much, sir. We are thankful to Gargi Madam, Mission Director, GSBTM. She supported our program. She encouraged us, and due to unavoidable circumstances, she was not present, but she assured us that your conference will be the great one, and from her side, she was ready for all kind of support. So I extend our sincere thanks to Gargi Madam through Snehal sir, that Gargi Madam was so kind to us and she agreed us. Thank you, Madam, also. We are also thankful to Dr. Baldev Patel sir and Professor S.R. Dave sir. These two dignitaries, they have shaped our department for long time in the department, and whatever we see in the department, that is only because of their hard work, and all the developments we find, that is by virtue of these two dignitaries. We are thankful to you, sir. We are also thankful to all the distinguished stalwarts of microbiology and biotechnology who traveled all the way from various parts of country, and they are going to present their research and their ideas throughout these 2 days of this conference, namely Professor Rajesh P. Sinha sir from Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi. Thank you, sir. Professor Riyaz Syed sir from the North Maharashtra University. Thank you very much, sir. Professor Ujjwal B. Trivedi sir from Sardar Patel University, Vidyanagar. Dr. Anand Badalkar, who is director of the bioincubator there at Sauli, is going to share his views on bioincubator and all possible opportunities for the young researchers and entrepreneurs. So we are thankful to Badalkar sir also. Dr. Shailendra Gaur, he is Associate Director, Melan Biologics, that is Hyderabad. He had traveled a long way from Hyderabad and being with us to share his views on biosimilars. He is going to extend his views to develop the innovative ideas just to prepare a biosimilar, maybe a kind of cheap drugs for the country. Dr. Manzoor Ahmed Mir sir, is Head Department of Bioresource, University of Kashmir, Srinagar. Probably tomorrow he will be there with us. So we are thankful to all the stalwarts from various parts of country and they are going to share their knowledge and views. We are also thankful to administrators of University Grant Commission, UGC, New Delhi, Gujarat State Biotechnology Mission, DST Gujarat, and our own Gujarat University for providing financial support and necessary facilities for this national conference. We are also thankful to directors of various schools of Gujarat University, heads and professors of various departments of Gujarat University who spared time and graced this occasion by their valuable presence. We are also thankful to principals and faculty members of different colleges and universities of Gujarat and other states who made it possible to be here by their gracious presence to the conference. We are also thankful to all the registered participants for the crowd which we see. This is not the crowd as it is been said. We should say that all these are the budding scientists. So we are thankful to all the budding scientists who had participated in this conference. We are also thankful to all the faculty members and non-teaching staff members of our own department, where since more than 2 months they are on their toes and working to shape this conference. So we are thankful to them. We are also thankful to our material and instrument suppliers who had supported this conference. We are also thankful to a big team of our researchers who are there in the department from day to night. They are working to shape this conference, and I have seen that some of you are working late evening also for many days, and I don't know whether you have gone through your experimental results or not, but definitely you have worked for this conference. So we are much thankful to all our research scholars team and PG students team. Since last 10 months, learned visionary of our department, Professor Minu Saraf madam, an idea came in her mind. All the time she directs us that at least once in a year we should go for this kind of conferences or seminar or workshop or any kind of the program where the interaction that is to be somehow been made at our department. So madam, who is Director School of Sciences, Gujarat University, and head professor and head of microbiology department, we are thankful to you madam that an idea and direction to shape this conference. We are also thankful to director and team members of EMRC, Gujarat University, for providing videography and live telecast facility of this inaugural function. We are also thankful to all the press reporters who are going to cover the press news to the media of this program. And finally, we thank one and all who take the pain to make this conference as a grand success event. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words. We'll be shortly proceeding for the keynote session by Dr. Rajesh Arora, sir. I request all the dignitaries on the dais to kindly occupy their seats in front. Also, we request the delegates to be seated here in the auditorium to enjoy the uninterrupted ride in the field of science and technology. It's a big honor to have great personality like Rajesh Arora sir as our keynote speaker for the conference. Dr. Arora has his PhD DSc with India's premier defense research and development organization. Dr. Arora additionally holds an MBA in management and 2 postgraduate diploma in human resource management and marketing management. He has successfully completed the Advanced Leadership Program from IIM Ahmedabad. He has made substantial contribution towards the development of novel radiation and biological countermeasures of herbal and antiviral drugs from natural products. His innovative contribution in drug design and development and augmentation of medicinally useful secondary metabolite have received wide international acclaim. He has developed several new chemical entities that are effective against multi-drug resistant bacteria, Besides, pharmacological approaches for enhancing performance of soldiers in extreme environments. Dr. Arora has been an expert member of various national and international committees, as well as he is the key resource member for various departments. Dr. Arora's academic accomplishments were awarded 2 gold medals and several prestigious national and international fellowships and awards during his checkered scientific career. He is the recipient of Platinum Jubilee Lecture Award of Indian Science Congress Association, Professor Kajale Memorial Lecture Award, and many more. Dr. Arora has been a visiting scientist in European Union as a Marie Curie Fellow of Royal Society of Chemistry. His name is included in Who's Who of the World, USA. Dr. Arora has more than 220 publications, 17 patents, 14 books to his credit. He serves on editorial board of more than 25 international journals and is a reviewer of over 100 peer-reviewed journals. We are really honored to have you with us, sir, and I request Dr. Rajesh Arora, sir, to proceed for his keynote address. Thank you.
Thank you so much for, am I audible? Yeah, very good morning to all of you. I think there is some technical problem with the running of the videos, but never mind. I'll just start my lecture. You can run that only videos for video. एनेबल कर दीजिए हाँ So here, yeah, it's okay, no problem. I think the videos will not run. That's, yeah, I can use it from here. Okay, I'll do it myself. So a very good morning to all of you, and I'm going to be presenting the presentation on exploring the realms of extreme microbiomes and how we can discover new pharmaceutical entities for defense applications and its civilian spin-offs. So the title of my talk, briefly, the organization of the lecture is in this form because I thought that maybe I should give, since a lot of students are there, I would like to give you an idea of what we do in DRDO and then begin with the extreme microbiomes that we have investigated and why we have investigated them and how we have harnessed those phytomicrobiomes and extremophiles. And then I would like to discuss about some of the emerging trends in microbiome research and the way forward. Many of the things have been discussed today in the inaugural session also. So in DRDO, we basically serve the armed forces, that is the Army, Navy, Air Force, and we try to sustain them in different and inhospitable terrain, platforms, and environments. And towards the mission of Atmanirbhar Bharat, we have been contributing in a very big way. DRDO is one of the largest R&D organizations in the country, and we are mandated to strengthen the armed forces, as I have alluded to earlier. And all our activities are mainly aligned with national defense strategy. We are clustered into 8 technological domains. We have a large number of academic partners. Don't go by these numbers. These numbers are very old. We have many more partners with academic institutions, national S&T agencies, DPSUs, OFBs, PSUs, and more than several thousand private sector enterprises. And more than 300,000, that is 3 lakh crores worth equipments have already been delivered to the Indian Armed Forces. And our technologies have placed India amongst the world's elite group of 4 nations to have multi-level strategic deterrence capabilities, 5 nations to have its own ballistic missile defense, and you witnessed Mission Shakti a few years back, wherein a satellite was destroyed by one of our missiles, and 6 nations to have developed a nuclear-powered submarine, and 7 nations to have developed our own main battle tank, that is Arjun. And we have a fourth plus generation combat aircraft, the light combat aircraft, which has been very successful. And in the Aero show also held in Bangalore just a few days back, the flights were there and it has been appreciated by almost all the countries. So these are some of the areas where we work. This is an overview of the systems and technologies. We are a group of around 50 plus laboratories with over 7,500 scientists working in right from strategic systems to missile technologies to aeronautical systems, material sciences, and life sciences as well. So this was a film I wanted to show on DRDO, but probably can you go back to the folder, please? Okay, maybe we'll skip that. So in life sciences, we work in diverse areas, right from the selection of the soldier to the sustenance, food, nutrition, protective clothing and equipment, health and well-being. We take care of almost all the aspects of the soldier. We have 9 laboratories, in fact, and I was earlier heading those laboratories from DRDO headquarters. These 5 laboratories in the maroon color, they work primarily on the medical aspects, and the rest of them, they work on agricultural and other aspects as well. So the canvas of life sciences R&D is very, very broad, as I told you, right from the selection to the man-machine interface, performance enhancement, protective equipment, promotive and curative health, psychological health, preventive health strategies, food, clothing, shelter. We take care of all those things. So the soldier behind the machine is kept fighting fit, operationally ready. Now, these are some of the key focus areas where we work, that is chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear defense. Then how does the soldier survive in the extremes? Because the Indian soldier, by virtue of our country's different terrains and climates and environmental conditions, I usually say that a soldier in a single lifetime, he goes across almost all the environmental constraints that can be found anywhere in the world, around the globe, on planet Earth. So how do we take care of the soldier at high altitude, in desert environment, extremes of cold and humidity, microgravity, if we are looking for aerospace soldiers? How to improve their physiological, cognitive, and psychological health? How to make them operationally prepared for sea, land, air, and aerospace? How they can survive in landlocked areas? And then women are coming in the armed forces in a very big way. So how do we take care of their health? And of course, the anti-cancer drugs and antiviral drugs. So the solution where we looked, we found that if we can biomimic nature and look at microbiota and plants, we can find many of the solutions. Again, there was a video. I'm sorry, you are not able to. I'm not able to show that to you. So we started with studying microbes to trace the origin of life in this universe. Because if you have to make the humans survive in extremes of environment, you have to go back and look at how life evolved on this planet and how the early life survived on this planet. So approximately 4.5 billion years ago, the Earth came into existence, and 3.5 billion years ago, probably life evolved. So there are evidences in the form of fossils that point out that approximately 3.7 billion years ago, life evolved. So here you can see some of the archaeal species which are thriving in the very hot waters of the Grand Prismatic Spring in Yellowstone National Park. So we also tried to look at, because the first forms of life that evolved probably on Earth were microbes. So this was the experiment that proved that how life evolved. You are very much familiar with Professor Harold Urey and Stanley Miller. And when I was doing my graduation at the University of Jodhpur, I had the fortune of studying under a professor who was the student of Professor Harold Urey, who went on to become a Nobel laureate. So this is how life evolved in a very basic. I'm sorry, I had very good videos to show you, but unfortunately, I'm not able to show them to you because of some technical constraints. Maybe at the end I can show you, but they might not connect together. So Oparin also, he proposed that how the origin of life took place, and these are very eminent scientists. So there are in general 3 different general categories which are historical, synthetic, about which our Honorable Vice Chancellor also mentioned, and universal theories which propose that life evolved either on Earth or it came as an alien. It came as an alien form of life from space. Sorry. So scientists have tried to culture some of the very primitive, very primitive species. And very recently, this is a recent paper, and they've shown that it is possible to culture these very primitive microorganisms. So if we have to trace the origin of life on in this universe, then we have to go back to studying microbes. As microbiologists, all of you are very well aware of this. And mitochondria, as you can see, that the green lighted portion which is there with the nuclei blue and cytoskeleton inside the mammalian cells, they were probably derived, the theory says that they were derived from an ancient endosymbiosis with bacteria. So this is how life evolved. And microbes are almost immortal. Honorable Vice Chancellor also mentioned that it is impossible to eradicate them, and they have survived all the 5 mass extinctions that have taken place, and probably even if there is another extinction, mass extinction that takes place, if humans also are obliterated from this planet, they will probably still be around. I think this video, again, this video is not running, I'm sorry. Anyway, so different kinds of extreme environments, we tried to look at those, several of the extreme environments that exist on Earth, and try to isolate some microbes which can be of use. So microbes, they dominate, it has been said, and I think more than 70 gigatons of weight is contributed by the microbes that on this particular planet. If you can see over here, that bacteria, fungi, and archaea, they contribute to a major extent apart from plants. And without microbes, all of you are aware that all higher plants and animals, including ourselves, would die. So this is one of the report on metagenomics by NRC. So we say that are microbes the bad guys? No, we have to think again, and because the air that we breathe, the health that we keep, the sources of new drugs that we have, we are able to digest food, clean up hazardous materials, support and protect crops. It all is due to the microbes. Then there is this inner universe of health, which is the miraculous microbiome, which is also the title of this particular work conference. And several theories of microbiome have been proposed, and in one of the recent papers, there are many definitions which are there. I'm not going to go into the detail, but it is the sum total of the genomes of the microbiota as well as the products of the microbiota and the host environment which is there in a particular theater of activity that constitutes the microbiome. So some of the extreme microbiomes that we have investigated in our laboratory is the phytomicrobiome, the radiation microbiome, thermal microbiome, deep sea microbiome, volcanic microbiome, permafrost microbiome, hypersaline microbiome, and desert microbiome. Now, why did we do that? Why did we go to select that? There were certain problems that we wanted to solve. It was with a purpose that we went looking for these microbes. One of the reasons is that we need to protect our soldiers against ionizing radiation, which emerges from the nuclear radiation that we utilize or as a result of accidents. So it can occur during radiation medicine or radiotherapy. These are just planned exposures I'm talking about, or during rescue missions and maintenance operations like we saw during the time of Chernobyl and also during Fukushima, and also Mayapuri incident which occurred in Delhi, in which we were also part of taking care of that, and also for space exploration. Apart from this, we have natural background radiation, which is there in Kerala beaches. We've been to this place to collect some of the extremophiles from there, and nuclear disasters and accidents that take place, and most importantly, the radiological terror incidents, with the likelihood of which is very high these days. So we are mandated to develop these CBRN countermeasures for the military primarily, and the spin-offs, they go to the civil sector as well. And no country is willing to share the technology, because we tried getting many of these radiation countermeasure agents from the US, Russia, and even our nuclear submarine. I would like to mention that if it has to sail, you have to have a certain amount of countermeasures available, and no country is willing to share the technology, so it has to be developed indigenously in-house. And field usable, safe and effective radiation countermeasures are not available off the shelf. So we, over a period of time, we have taken up this research, and we studied certain endophytes and utilized other biotechnological approaches. So one of the plants that we chose was Podophyllum hexandrum, which occurs in the high altitude regions in the Himalayas. And we isolated a novel endophyte from this, which was labeled as ALP01. And we went on to culture in bioreactors, and we showed that it produces the anti-cancer and radioprotective drug, anti-cancer and radioprotective drug, podophyllitoxin, and its glycosides, which we were able to show that they provide radiation protection. So we have carried out extensive studies on this, and the product is almost in the pipeline, about to be inducted. We have carried out these studies on the primate model system as well, with very promising results. These are some of the ESI-MS spectrum of fungal podophyllitoxin and its glycoside, and how they compare with the normal plant-produced components. So this is just a comparison. Then the second plant we chose was Notapoditis fetida, which we got from RRL Jammu, formerly RRL Jammu, now it is IIIM. We had a collaboration with them, and we were able to produce the camptothecin from the endophytes that we isolated. So these are some of the scanning electron micrograph pictures. Again, we do them in bioreactors, showed the production of camptothecin, rutin, and quercetin, and a combination of this was again shown to render radiation protection. Molecular characterization, etc., was a part of the system, and we also chemically characterized the compounds that were produced by this, and these are some of the anti-cancer activity that we showed. Then certain new molecules were also isolated and characterized, which with very potent radioprotective efficacy. Then we carried out the studies on thermophiles. So there is an island in Andaman and Nicobar that is known as the Baratang Islands, where you have a mud volcano and Barren Island, which is the only active volcano in the country. I had very good videos. Yesterday night I worked until almost 12:30 in the night to put across those videos, but somehow they're not opening. I think at the end of the lecture, if we have time, I can show you those videos. They might not connect, but they're very good videos to see. So this mud volcano, it almost literally boils, and we isolated, again, this is a video that has not come. We isolated bacteria from there, and these thermophilic bacteria which were isolated, they exhibited very good radioprotective, radioresistance properties, and they also were proven to have radioprotective efficacy, which we carried out by doing both in vitro and in vivo studies. And it gave very good radiation protection, more than 75%, some of the compounds they gave. And the different parameters were studied, including liver enzymes and hematological parameters, which we do on a very regular scale. Another novel psychrophile was isolated from the high altitude region of Kargil at an altitude of 7135 meters. And again, we were able to isolate some of those bacteria. And then one of the cruise, that Sagar Kanya, that took place in the year 2008, we were able to get certain salt pan samples and isolated the microorganisms. One of our students who did that, he is right now in University of Queensland in Australia, doing very well as a scientist over there. So we isolated this unique piezophile, that is a deep sea bacteria, and showed that it produces radio-resistant molecules. And here you can see that how, as we are increasing the radiation dose, we find that many of the bacteria, they are vanishing, but some of them are radio-resistant. So these are some of those radio-resistant bacteria. And of course, the biological activity and strain improvement, etc., was done. Then again, one more exclusive halophile was isolated, and the flagellin protein and S-layer protein were found to be very effective. And the proteomic studies were also done on this, and the LCMS of the different compounds was also done. Then this is Deinococcus radiodurans. As students of microbiology, you are very well aware that it is one of the hardiest radio-resistant organisms known on planet Earth. It can survive cold, dehydration, vacuum, acid, and has also been listed in the Guinness Book of World Records. So now we had a radiation chamber which we use for subjecting the animals to radiation. Now the thought came to us that why not isolate bacteria from that radiation chamber. So when I discussed this with one of our younger scientists, he said, "Sir, this is not going to work. There'll be no microbes available over there." I said, "Let us give it a try." We worked for almost an year. This was way back, I think in somewhere in 2003 or 2 or 3. So we were able to isolate a radio-resistant. These are the mechanisms. Of course, I'm not going to go into the detail about how Deinococcus radiodurans works. But this is the cobalt-60 gamma radiation chamber which Bhabha Atomic Research Center had established. This had earlier come around 50 years back from Atomic Energy Commission, Canada. So that was dismantled, and then this was a newer one that was installed. So we isolated a bacillus species from that radiation, very high radiation environment, and we characterized it, and over a period of several years we worked on it, and we found that it is even more radio resistant than Deinococcus radiodurans. So what we did that Dr. Michael Daly is the person who is the authority on Deinococcus radiodurans. He works at the Uniformed University of Health Sciences in the US, which is an army institution. So we wrote to him that we have got certain data which shows that our bacteria is more radio-resistant than Deinococcus radiodurans. He immediately wrote back to us. During those days, email was not there, so he wrote back to us a very nice letter saying that you give us the sample of your bacteria, I would like to test it. We said that sample sharing might not be easy for us, but yes, we would request you to send your sample to us. We can evaluate it. He said, fine, okay. And immediately he sent the sample. We compared with our bacteria and found that it was highly radio-resistant as compared to even Deinococcus radiodurans. Then we submitted it to the MTCC. We wanted to submit it to ATCC, but then we were, due to certain restrictions, we could not do that because the government wanted us to work on more on it. Michael Daly was surprised. He, as a part of the Indo-US delegation, he visited our laboratory, and he was really surprised to see that how radio-resistant our bacteria was as compared to. But that is another story, because it did, we have not been able to tell that it crosses the, it forms a part of the Guinness Book of World Record. So this radio-resistant bacteria, we have been able to grow it in bioreactor, isolate the major compounds which are responsible for radiation protection. And now our drug is in very, very advanced stages, and we've carried out primate trials also. We've carried out experiments on that. And over a period of time, we have come out with a drug which is very useful in both in radiotherapy as well as for military applications. So these are some of the Kaplan-Meier analysis survival curves which show the radioprotective efficacy. I'm not going to go into the detail. These are the protection of the, we've shown protection of the gastrointestinal system, the male reproductive system, and other things. And we've also shown that it works in both prophylactically as well as in mitigation therapy. Now, one of the component which was present in one of the bacteria that was isolated is flagellin. So from this, one of my students, he went to the US and Cleveland Clinic Foundation, and then he went to Russell Park, and he showed that this particular flagellant compound derived CBL B502 protein, it renders very efficient radiation protection, and he was able to publish this paper in Science way back in 2008. Now, at that point of time, other groups had been able to show after post-publication that the gastrointestinal system, it gets degraded, and the TLR3 protects the mice from the lethal radiation-induced gastrointestinal syndrome. So many of these studies that we have done, they have implications in cancer radiotherapy. It has implications for manned space missions. And one of the papers that, initial papers that we had published, it was given to NASA scientists by NASA. It was circulated that you please go through this paper, read it, and use it for your Mars mission, manned mission, because they wanted at that point of time to send their spacecraft to Mars. So then in nuclear fallout cases, nuclear and radiological emergencies where we work in a very big way, rescue missions, we've been involved in almost all the rescue missions within the country and also during the Fukushima incident. Now, radiation-induced gut dysbiosis, the entire gut microbiome, it gets altered. These are some recent papers by other workers. The point that it reduces, the microbiome, if it gets altered, as a result of radiotherapy, it induces cancer, leads to immune responses and mucositis, etc., and cascade of inflammatory responses. The reason why I am showing you this, that many of the bacteria which are altered as a result of ionizing radiation, they induce a lot of pathways which are involved in signal transduction and alter the entire gut microsystem. So again, this is a recent paper wherein the immune microenvironment is modified and the microbial metabolites induced by radiotherapy, they enter the bloodstream and are transported to the liver, brain, and other organs of the body, and the immune microenvironment is changed. So several years back, when we were initially working, around 20 years back, when we were working with Podophyllum exandrum, we were able to show that the gut microbiome that is there, we did not know the term microbiome at that point of time, but there was protection as a result of the treatment. And one of the reasons that might have been there would have been the microbiome of the gut, which was restored as a result of our intervention. Now, the gut has been called the second brain, and there are so many papers that are coming almost every day. And because our entire enteric nervous system that is affected by that, and in fact, it is said that 100 million neurons are there. The network of nerve cells lining the digestive tract is so extensive that it has earned the nickname second brain. So initially, when we were doing these studies with radiation, particularly for alteration of the gastrointestinal system, because that is one of the hemopoietic system gets affected. Thereafter, the gastrointestinal system gets affected. So that is the major cause of death. So we, at that point of time, we had shown that the serotonin levels which are there, they are modulated in the gut much more as compared to the brain. So, but now with the kind of information that is emerging as a result of the microbiome research and the gut-brain crosstalk which is taking place, so we find we can connect that yes, it might have been due to that reason. Now, the brain and the gut, they are very apart. They are almost two poles apart. So we have also worked on the different poles, that is the Arctic Circle as well as the Antarctic Circle. And these are again poles apart. And there is a third pole, which is the Siachen, which is the highest battlefield in the world. So you can imagine the types of extremes that exist, not only the extreme, but it is the extreme of extreme. Because in the poles, you have only the problem of cold and some other related problems. Whereas in case of high altitude, you also have the problem of pressure, and you have the problem of cold, and you have several others. The altitude also affects you. Now here you can see that many of the soldiers, they are trying to cross a crevasse, and the temperatures that are there, they can go up to -70, even -90 inside the crevice. So if somebody falls down, God forbid, it's very difficult to retrieve. And the case of Hanumanta is very well known. In Subedar Hanumanta is very well known. So we've done some studies on the human gut flora at different altitudes, because in high altitude, the food intake, it becomes very different. So extensive studies have been carried out, and the phylogenetic composition of the gut microflora has been evaluated and compared in soldiers, both at the base level and different altitude level. And we've been able to show that how the different species, they vary, and they result in the different gastrointestinal problems and how it can be modulated. We've shown that. So this is, you can see a leader walking and many people walking behind. So this is Antarctica in the extremes. So we've also explored the Antarctic region. We've always been a part of the Antarctic mission, which has been going. It's a very dry, unique wildlife, extreme cold, dry, windy, and unexplored region. Again a very extreme. So we've been there, and you'll be surprised to know that it was a part of India 25 million years ago. Because if we go back into history, we find that the Pangea was there, which further broke down, and then we were separated. Now, these are some of the pictures. I just wish to drink some water, and I want you to enjoy the beautiful pictures. Just keep looking at them. They are very breathtaking sights. Just you can have a look at them. Just see the serenity of Antarctica. Unfortunately, climate change is doing a lot of damage, and we monitored some of these effects also. That's another part of the story, but these are just pictures. Just keep seeing that how winter. Now these are the 3 centers, Indian research centers, which are there in Antarctica, wherein our team have been there right from the beginning when it began. Colonel Bajaj had gone there, and one of our technical officers, Mr. Bajaj, was the first person to go, and also winter over there in Antarctica. So the first station was Dakshin Gangotri, the second was Maitri, and currently we have Bharati. Dakshin Gangotri has almost gone inside the snow, and permanently we've established it as a supply station. And rest of the work is being done from Bharati, which is a modern center. So this gentleman or gentlewoman, I do not know who it is, just you can see that how very happily they are staying over there untouched, and we humans are destroying their habitat. Just keep enjoying the pictures, beautiful pictures. And here you can see the Milky Way behind. So the entire universe is visible from there. This is, of course, Aurora Australis, not to be mistaken with Arora. The name sounds similar. And I was suggested by some of my friends when I was in school to change my name to Arora. But I did not. So here you can see again a very beautiful penguin on an iceberg. And if you've seen killer whales, they have a very huge strategy of killing these gentle animals. They come around and then toss them into the water, and they play with them, and then they eat them. So life is not easy over there. So just keep looking at the landscape. So there are many research stations. Almost all the countries have their research stations established in Antarctica. And Dakshin Gangotri, as I told, was a major center, along with Maitri, which was very near. And we have Bharati. So there are dry valleys. And this is the Russian base in Antarctica, where the temperature has fallen down to -97.8 degrees Celsius. I mean, it's deep freezer. Pack ice is very important because the microorganisms can be taken from there. Pack ice means which is, which melts a bit during the summer season. This is how supplies are made. And this is how you see the Milky Way galaxy. Very beautiful pictures. And our Indian team over there. This is Maitri in 1988. And we did a mistake by going to Antarctica. Some of our scientists, they went to Antarctica because they were sent officially, and they went to Antarctica. And as a part of the their research, they brought some microorganisms, collected some microorganisms and brought them back to the lab. They kept on working. Then we faced a unique problem in high altitude, because in 1984, the Indian military had to be moved to the higher reaches to protect Siachen Glacier. So we, in almost few days, we had to capture the entire area, because we had some information that it was going to be taken by Pakistan, and it would have been very difficult for us to keep a track of, because it's at a high place and the entire Jammu and Kashmir region would have been jeopardized. So our military, we had gone over there, and that was the time, a few days later, we faced the problem that, see, the soldiers have to live over there. They have to use the ice, they have to melt the ice and then drink that water. Now, the contamination of the human waste became a very big problem over there, because they have to pass their waste there only in the pits and all that. And there were not many provisions at that point of time. And in summers, when you would, or even in winters, when you would melt the ice and take that water and you would drink it, you would have contamination. So we had to establish certain toilets in that high altitude region. We tried to do that for the soldiers, but then the bio waste which was there, it would not get degraded. So this idea came to us that why not use those consortia of bacteria that we had isolated from Antarctica. So this is how the initial designs were there. Different designs were made and tested. And here you can see that the entire biodigester that we had made, it has gone inside this snow in Siachen Glacier. It took us a lot of time to standardize those bacteria, consortium of bacteria to acclimatize to that region. It took time, but they acclimatized very well and they began degrading the bio waste at that place. And this became a success story few years later. We were able to establish biodigesters. Now they've also been established in the northeastern sector. And then the idea, anybody who has traveled by rail would know that if a few years back down the line, if you would have traveled, it was very difficult to sit on stations also, because of the stinking smell of the human waste that would simply fall on the railway track. So in collaboration with the Indian Railways, we thought that we should give this technology, which was successful in Siachen Glacier, to the Indian Railways. So we had a series of long discussions with the engineers of the Indian Railways. They were not very convinced, but then we tried to convince them. The minister was Mr. Jairam Ramesh at that point of time. So we tried to convince them that, okay, if you want to do it, just try it in one of the coaches of the train. And Baroni Express was chosen. And the Baroni Express, this was fitted with the biodigester that DRDO had developed. It was not very successful, but yes, some success was achieved. There was stinking smell, etc. All those problems were there. But this consortium of hydrolytic acidogenesis inducing bacteria, acidogenesis bacteria, and methanogenesis inducing bacteria was successful to some extent. So we established the inoculum facility. And then somehow it became a very big success. And it was decided that the entire Indian Railways, the coaches would be fitted with the biodigester that we had developed. Of course, the engineering design was made in collaboration with the Indian Railways engineers who worked very hard on it. And this became a success story. And almost 3 crore passengers travel in more than 79,000 coaches every day. So this is the picture of that Baroni Express. Initially, the biodigesters were of this type. Now they are, of course. So by 21-22, almost the retrofitment of all the old coaches was done. And now almost all the coaches which are there, they are fitted with the biodigester that has been developed. And it has become a very big success story. And our Honorable Prime Minister was very happy with this development. And in between, when we were working on this technology, there was a lot of criticism as well that we used to get. But then as a part of the Clean Ganga initiative, here you can see it was established along the Ganges, and we had the support of the then Chief Minister of Uttarakhand and several other places. And we were able to establish these biodigesters, and it became a success in the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. It became a very big success in the country. Then some of the recent scientific expeditions to Antarctica. This is one of the pictures from the 38th mission that very recently our scientists had gone. So we participated in the 34th mission, wherein we focused on the immunological parameters. And then in the last 38th mission, which was there, we focused on the human microbiota, because with, of course, gaining the strength from the high altitude studies that we had carried out. And we tried the probiotic intervention. And these were some of the stresses that were seen in the 28th mission. And we tried to look at metagenomics, which gives answers right from phylogenetic to functional and mechanistic aspects. And we were able to, as a part of the 34th scientific expedition to Antarctica, show that the microbial dysbiosis, the effects at the immunological, hematological, and genomic responses levels. And we proposed to the ministry that the probiotics would be very effective in lessening the harmful effects when the people go over there. So in the 38th Indian scientific expedition to Antarctica, we formulated a probiotic intervention which was given and which protected the gastrointestinal tract. Again, some pictures which have been sent by one of my technical officers, Mr. Maleshwar Rao. And this is the Bharti Research Center, which is very unique during summers. You can see it. And we established a lab over there for evaluation. And these are some of the friends who are playing at Antarctica while we are working. And so the seasickness in the 28th mission, which was Antarctic mission, which was there, the 24 people, they suffered from seasickness. And when we gave the probiotic intervention, 38th scientific expedition, only one person suffered from seasickness. So the percent of seasickness reduced to almost 10% in the probiotic group, in the group that was administered the probiotic. So this is the formulation we came out with. It is known as WonderPro, and we were able to show that how at different days, and we compared this with the placebo also, and different studies were again carried out, and the impact of the stressful ship voyage, it is reduced as a result of the probiotic intervention. And these are some of the, again, studies which compared the placebo as well as our probiotic and showed that how it works. Then metagenomic profiling has also been carried out, and we've been able to show that how the gut microbiome is altered in both the cases, and the disrupted homeostasis and functional characteristics of the gut microbiota have been worked out, and the gut microbial Cas9 genes have been also characterized. So the relationship between, we found a positive as well as negative correlation between the microbial species and seasickness. So we were able to establish that. The next frontier is space, where we are carrying out certain experiments on microgravity, but of course we have not yet started working on this. But a healthy microbiome is very much essential for the space missions. And there are a large number of alterations that occur whenever there is the galactic cosmic radiation, microgravity, or sleep deprivation, or stress in spacefarers. So targeting the gut microbiome to protect the space travelers is another area where we have some interest. And NASA has also carried out some studies, which is a very important study. It is known as the twin study. And two astronauts, one was kept in the base station and one was sent in space. This is a very important study. It was probably published in Nature. And they measured 10 generalized biomedical modalities over a period of 25 months. And it's a very well-planned study that has been carried out by different scientists in different laboratories across the US. And the multitudinal, longitudinal studies have been carried out on these two twins. So it's a very important study which has shed light on the role of the gut microbiome derived metabolites and how the microbiome undergoes functional changes in response to space flight. So they've characterized this. This, of course, is not our data, and it's some of the studies have been published in Nature Communications. They've studied the effects of the microbiota that exist in different parts of even the International Space System. that is there, using both shotgun metagenome studies and different ISS locations, that is the International Space Station. So these are some of the results from there. Now, one of the things that is often said, and our Honorable Vice Chancellor also said today morning, that microbes are there everywhere. And if you apply sanitizer, then they will get killed, but they will come back again. So I say that from soil we all emerge and to soil we return. So it is, if you have a look at the ancient practices in our country, children used to play in soil right from the beginning. And we also find that the immune system was much better. It was said that it is much better if children, they are in their natural environment rather than asking them not to touch, sterilizing them, washing their hands. So their immunity goes down. Now children in cities are mostly sick. And in the, ancient folklore also, in Indian tradition, we find Lord Krishna, when he ate mud, her mother said that, Mother Yashoda, she said that, did you eat mud? So he showed, when he was asked to open his mouth, so he showed the entire universe in his mouth. So the dirt basically signifies that we are made of earth and also are a product of the soil. And once we become realized, or we transcend our lower nature, we can see the entire process of creation within ourselves. So the entire microbiome which was there, probably that was shown by Lord Krishna to her mother, that this is the reason why I am eating mud. Now, this is health and disease basically depends on the microbiome composition, and we are getting scientific evidences for that. I just came across a study which has been carried out on Mexican children who stay in villages. So these are those children who are from a MIFIA population which stays in the villages, and their gut microbiota has been characterized, and some phyla have only been found to be present within this indigenous community. And these workers, they have compared the gut flora of these MIFIA community children with urban population. And they have also come to the same conclusion, that the relative abundance of the species is very different in the MIFIA community as compared to the urban community. So they've characterized the genera abundance in city and versus indigenous, and they've shown that the children who are in the villages, they fall less sick as compared to the children in the urban community, due to the balance of the microbiota which exists, the composition of the microbiota and the homeostasis that exists in those children who are from that particular community. So scientific evidence is also pointing out towards that. Now, if we have a look at the ancient human feces, so it also reveals that our gut microbes have changed. So here you can see that the entire, as a result of industrialization, there has been a huge shift, and that is probably one of the reasons for many of the diseases. And I have come across thousands and thousands of papers, because before coming to this place I was reading, and I also attended one of the lectures by one of the very eminent distinguished scientists from the US, who has been given a very big award just last week only. And this has been very well established that the gut microbiome is responsible for protection against cancer, against depression, against Alzheimer's, against Parkinson's. You name any disease, the gut microbiome is involved. Not only the gut microbiome, but the entire human microbiome which is there, it is involved in protecting us from that. Several other studies have again pointed out the pre-industrial. They've compared that how pesticides have damaged us, and how today morning also while coming I was discussing this with Professor Saab from Jalgaon. And recent studies have shown that if you are sharing the household, this is just a 2023 Nature paper which has come maybe last week. I went through this, and I found that even if you share the same house, even the animals who are sharing the same house, somehow their microbiomes become identical. And this has been established. So these are some of the future areas which I could map, that how the microbiome or the metabolites influence health and diseases. On this, research should be done. Factors that influence or balance one's microbiome, the development of probiotics as a functional food, the factors that affect microbiome of pregnant women and infants, Again, this is one area where huge research is being carried out. Manipulating microbes for disease prevention and treatments, and almost all kinds of diseases can be modulated by modulating the gut microbiome. Then these are some of the areas where I thought that probably we should have diagnostic markers, biomarkers from the microbiome to identify diseases even before they develop. We are working towards the development of some gene cards for the soldiers, of course, from a soldier perspective, wherein we will be able to identify the kinds of diseases they might be able to develop at a later date. That is the step towards personalized medicine about which Sir was talking in the morning. So these are some, again, metagenomics, how it is being taken forward for gut microbiome modulation, and recent trends in artificial intelligence and machine learning, about which, again, something was touched upon in the morning. I found that the Gut Smash is a software which has been there, which can predict the different pathways, including the microbiome gene clusters which are involved, the bioenergetics about which our Honorable Vice Chancellor was talking about, and also the putative ones which are candidates for novel pathway discovery. So this is one area where a lot of research can be done. So there's a lot of scope for doing research in these areas, and machine learning and artificial intelligence will hugely transform, because microbiomes are very complex. They constitute a large number of microbes. So we need to resort to these techniques, these modern techniques, in order to be able to, like, say, for example, even the consortium of bacteria that we have isolated from Antarctica, we have still not been able to sequence all the strains. We have not been able to do metagenomics for all the strains, but with AI and machine learning, we might be able to do that. So the trends, if you look at the publication trends, again, we find that there's a huge increase in the number of articles that are being published on different aspects of the microbiome genomes which are there. So the last slide is that I asked this question that I think you might not be able to connect it, because I missed some of the videos that I had put in between. So are we humans or microbes? So we are, they say that approximately the microorganisms, they outnumber us by 1 to 10, maybe even more. So, and if you look at the genes, we have around 23,000 genes or 30,000 genes, nobody knows. But these genes are much, much, much more than the human genome itself. So with this, I would like to thank my collaborators, my friends, my seniors, and of course, most importantly, many of my students who work with me and my colleagues. And we have, over the period of years, we've had collaborations with several international institutions. So thank you very much for a very patient hearing. And I'm sorry I could not show you the videos which I had brought, but maybe I think I can show you just one of the DRDO films which lists what we do in DRDO. I think, again, the sound is missing in this film. Okay.
Having indigenous technological supremacy. Today, India is one of the few countries with its own fourth-generation combat aircraft to have developed its own main battle tank, its own submarine, its own ballistic missile defense program, an airborne early warning and control system, and among the handful countries along with Russia to have its own supersonic missile. All these and many more visionary research by the DRDO getting translated into world-class products for the Indian Defence Services. Tejas, India's light combat aircraft, is the smallest and lightest multi-role supersonic fighter aircraft of its class. Tejas is the pride of the country and a step towards Make in India initiative. Airborne Early Warning and Control System, AEW&C. An eye in the sky is a potent force multiplier, providing surveillance, tracking, identification, and classification of the airborne sea surface targets. Rustam 2, the multi-mission medium-altitude, long-endurance UAV, carry out the intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance ISR roles for the armed forces. The aerostat system Nakshatra has proved to be an excellent platform for surveillance and communication for a variety of civil and military applications. Netra is a man-portable, lightweight aerial vehicle used for surveillance and reconnaissance operations, aerial radiological surveillance of nuclear contaminated areas. IR flares developed for different military applications like tracking path of missile, training the air crew, and decoying the attacking heat-seeking missile. Astra, the beyond visual range air-to-air missile, can intercept aerial targets at a long range. Akash is the medium-range surface-to-air missile system with the capability to engage a wide variety of aerial threats up to a maximum range of 25 kilometers and up to an altitude of 20 kilometers. LR-SAM to galvanize the air defense capabilities of the country. DRDO collaborated with Israel to develop the long-range surface-to-air missile LR-SAM for the Indian Navy and medium-range surface-to-air missile MR-SAM for the Indian Air Force. BrahMos, a collaborative effort between India and Russia, is the only supersonic cruise missile in the world today with flight range of 290 kilometers. Pinaka Mark II, the multi-barrel rocket system, is equipped with navigation, guidance and control kit and transformed to a guided weapon with a range of 75 kilometers. ATAGS, with advanced features in terms of high mobility, quick deployability, automatic command and control system with night firing capability in direct fire mode. WAP is a multi-utility wheeled armored platform with modular design, configurable for variety of combat and combat support roles. DRDO developed latest radars. Ashilesha, Swati, Arudra have proved their mettle for a wide variety of applications. DRDO developed sonars, have been the mainstay of Indian naval ships and submarines. Marich, the advanced torpedo defense system, employs both expandable and towed decoy against incoming torpedoes. Varunastra, the heavyweight anti-submarine torpedo, is capable of targeting quiet and stealthy submarines in intense countermeasure environment.
Space has become an important element in a country's economy and military superiority. Capability to defend against the space-based threats is a necessity. Mission Shakti is a major breakthrough in demonstrating the country's advancing technological capability of engaging satellites of low Earth orbit.
DRDO is creating a saga of self-reliance and showcasing the true spirit of Make in India. Jai Hind.
Thank you and Jai Hind. Thank you and Jai Hind. And all our efforts have been towards Atmanirbhar Bharat right from the beginning. We, instead of telling Make in India, we've always made in India. And as Dr. Abdul Kalam used to say to us, that we've tried to make everything in India and develop self-reliance in, at least in the defense sector, as much as possible. So it's made in India rather than Make in India. Thank you very much. So if there are any questions, I'll be very happy to answer them. Sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Illuminating lecture. My question is, you have talked about these microorganisms, they are radioprotective, radiation protection. So which type of radiation? Is it only gamma radiation or it is also protected to ultraviolet radiation?
Sir, we have actually isolated the molecules which are effective primarily against ionizing radiation. So that is gamma radiation and also against cosmic radiation. UV protection is not much of a problem. We've isolated compounds, and because that's much easier to handle. UV, the penetrative power of UV is very low. When we are talking of ionizing radiation, they're very high energy particles, and they cause a lot of damage as compared to the UV. We've worked on UV also,
Right.
because in the high altitude, one of the major problems which is there is of very high UV intensity.
Right.
So we've developed certain formulations for them and given to them also for use at that place. But the penetrative power of the ultraviolet radiation is much lesser. And the major effects like induction of cancer and all those things, that we are not very much interested in. Our interest is primarily to protect against the nuclear radiation, which emerges either from I would not say that a direct nuclear impact, because direct energy, if it falls, then it's very difficult to modulate it, because whatever damage will happen, it will happen. But the indirect effects which are there, they are modifiable. So we've tried to work on that. The second area that we primarily focus on is the rescue operation. I'll give you an example. The Chernobyl incident took place. The people who had gone to rescue at that point of time, they were sent one by one, because there's a as per the International Atomic Energy Commission and international guidelines which are there, you cannot expose a human being to endless ionizing radiation. There's a set limit for it. Now they were known as liquidators, but at that point of time they did not have anything, so they sent for just few seconds. One person would go do the operation and come back. The other person would follow. And unfortunately, over a period of time, that point of time USSR was there, but now it is around 25, 30 years down the line, it began to be known that all the liquidators, they died of some kind of cancer. Unfortunately, none of them survives as on date. So there should be something. The second incident that came was the Mayapuri incident, wherein we were the first to be contacted, and we were able to save 4 lives. One we could not save because he had kept the cesium in his pocket, and somebody told that ye aur zyada mehenga hoga, because he was just a contractor. He did not know the laborer had given to him, so he kept it in front. So that was the reason why he could not be saved. But the rest could be, we did the biodosimetry, we were able to modify the effects which were there to a certain extent. Of course, problems might have been there later on, but they were able to survive. The second area that we work on is the protection of the rescue workers. That suppose a mission has to be accomplished. There is a dirty bomb. That dirty bomb means a radioactive bomb which somebody came and placed over here. So all of us are going to get affected. So somebody has to come, pick it up and go. So we've devised a robot also we've devised, which can go and take and then discard it, then do the necessary things. But there are places, there are times when that is not possible. Human intervention has to be there. Like in the case of Fukushima, the amount of radioactivity that was leaking was very high. So they had to stop it somehow. But from the experience of Chernobyl that they were aware of, so they sent the people for very, very short duration, few seconds. Now during that period, if you give them our drug and send them, if that person is able to stay there for 1 second without the drug, he will be able to stay there for 5 seconds or maybe half a minute. So that is the kind of window of protection that we look at.
Okay, thank you very much.
So we work on both areas, but UV is not a priority for us.
Okay. No, I was thinking about the person who is working at Siachen and Antarctica. They are regularly exposed to
we
radiation.
have developed formulations for them.
Yes.
They are having an SPF value of over 60, 65, 70.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's one student who is asking. I'm very sorry. I think I've exceeded the time, but you please ask your question. I think I'll take your question. Ma'am, with your permission, can I take? I think you are running behind schedule. I took a lot of time.
Sir, myself, Himadri Joshi, and I have been very fond of DRDO since very long. It's an honor to stand in front of you right here.
Thank you.
So,
It's my honor.
sir, can you please guide us how can we enter DRDO if we want to? What is the exact procedure, like any entrance exam or something?
Okay. You are meaning to say that as a scientist?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, DRDO has different HR policies, and see, we take JRFs also, we take SRFs also, we take research associates also. So that is one route for research scholars. As far as the post of scientist is concerned, this is advertised not on a very regular basis, because life sciences, let me tell you, is a very, very small, minuscule portion of DRDO. If the rest of the portion is like strategic mission, etc., 99%, we are just 1% or 0.5%. But those posts are advertised at the usually at the junior most level, that is scientist B, and there is lateral entry also. So those posts are advertised. You have to keep looking for those advertisements. It is based on the lab's requirements. And we are very few laboratories which are there. So you have to keep looking for that, and then you can apply for those posts. Then there is a selection procedure which is there. We have a a recruitment and assessment center, which screens the applications, calls the candidate for interview or written examination, and then they are selected. But if you wish to do a project, then you can write to one of the directors, and then you can do that. There are many other extramural. I think your Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Pandya, is very well aware of those things. So now, since more interaction will be there, a Center of Excellence is coming up at your university. So there are extramural fundings which are given to the faculty members of the universities. So under those projects, you can work. And then DST has got young women scientist awards and other things, so you can apply for those as well. Thank you. All the best to you.
We are indeed thankful to Dr. Arora for his valuable address. He has given a beautiful insight in the field of microbiomes. It was a wonderful tour in the world of defense science. Thank you, sir, for the guidance. Your pictures which have been shown during the presentation were really adorable. We really admire the presentation, and we have no words to express our gratitude. So thank you, sir, for being with us. And now I request all the dignitaries to join us in the department for tea, and then we'll proceed for the next address. So I request all the dignitaries as well as delegates to join us in the department for tea and further sessions. Thank you all for being here. I request